Hey everyone, welcome to the Triangle Hustle podcast, where life, hustle, and construction collide in the heart of California. I'm Lila, your PPE and safety expert.
I'm Rocio, saving you money with insurance and workers' comp.
And I'm Frank, for all your trash and disposal needs. Whether you're swinging hammers or closing deals, this show is built for those who want to level up in business and in life.
From the job side to the boardroom, we're bringing you real talk, real challenges, and our favorite real wins.
Thanks for joining us. Here we are, guys. Welcome to the Triangle Hustle.
Buenos dias.
So happy to be here. There's 5 of us today. I don't know if you can tell, but we have some special guests.
Two very special guests.
We got Freddy and we have Heriberto.
Good morning.
From PRC.
You know, at first I thought PRC was gang affiliated. I was like, are we interviewing gangsters now? The Crips? Like, what's going on? But then Rocio told me it's a restoration company. I'm just kidding. I know who you guys are.
And they're a very generous restoration company because they brought me a coffee cup. Rocio's wearing their hat. Got little, we got some goodies. So thank you guys for the gift bags. That was very, very
thoughtful, right?
Thank you for the invite.
Let's go ahead and let them introduce themselves and get into this amazing podcast episode here. What is it? Episode 5? 7? Oh, I was close.
7? 7's a lucky number, so.
No, well, I appreciate you guys. Muchas gracias. So it's a privilege to be with you guys and get the invite. My name is Freddy Rodriguez. I'm with PRC Restoration. I'm the Director of Marketing. And very, very happy to be here. So,
Buenos dias. My name is Heriberto Sarmiento. I'm the social media guy. They call me social media guy for PRC. Yeah, I'm in charge for social media, photos, videos, and I'm grateful to be here.
Heriberto and Freddy are the guys who make it happen. If any of you guys have gone to any of the networking events, anything with plumbing, restoration, you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have walked down the aisle and seen the PRC. It's blue, red, and besides all of that, they have a bunch of beautiful ladies who are their salespeople. So I think that's one of the eye-catching, but besides that, it's always been high energy, amazing, and you guys have always been very open. So I'm very happy that I met you guys about 2 years ago.
thank you. Well, that tells a
Beautiful
little bit of our
women, huh?
brand.
Yeah, everybody's doing that.
Beautiful
Sales,
women and men. You cannot leave me out. Heriberto, you can't leave Heriberto out. But
I'm just repeating what Rocio said.
He's got great hair over there.
Oh, yeah.
That's he's looking sharp. So I agree. It can't be all about the women. You got you got to give some credit to the men.
Of course,
yeah.
always. Yeah. I didn't say that.
We have like a few ugly dudes and then like one crazy talented female.
Well, I was just giving a shout out to the crazy talented female then.
Yeah.
There you go. No, definitely. It's been a pretty good journey. I think our brand, I appreciate you recognizing the brand. I think that's one of the things that we strive is always making sure we get the right brand, the right reputation, having the professional people working for us. It's always been on top of our list. So that comment definitely validates for the actual work that we're doing, and especially Heriberto being our main creator for the company, it's really high.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, social media guy, because, I'm, old school. I've had Safety Vibe for over 20 years now. And just recently, because my lovely daughter came back to work for the business as our, social media girl, right? And really putting a lot of creative and, efforts into our social media. And it has changed just being out there, going to networking events, and people are already recognizing you or telling you, hey, I love the podcast, and stuff like that. But we're always looking for tips. He said he brought me some tips. So
Yeah, well, can you give us a background of how PRC started?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything started, I think, because Freddy. I met Freddy in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Freddy can tell about the story.
I'll tell the story. So a little background on it is we started, the owner started by the company in 1998. So he started as a carpet cleaning, Hispano, Mexican, running the show, a lot of carpet cleaning, small little shop, like a lot of entrepreneurs starting from their own either living room, their own garage. So that's just started it. Meeting the owner, relationship making, right? You meet people around and they see your talent. And one of the things that and I'll go back to Heriberto's comment, right? That when you meet good people, good things happen, right? So PRC seems it's been like that. So when I started the company, it was 2011 or so. Actually, my background is plumbing and air conditioning. So I met the owner as a plumber. Became good friends. He saw he's like, hey, Freddy, talking about the stories behind it. And he's like, bring me in. We need marketing. All right. Join in. Different years later, the company grew, started getting the role of the director of marketing, started seeing things differently, networking, learning from a lot of professionals. By the way, it's a journey of making connections and learning from everybody. Someone has always something to teach you, and just be open. That's always been my case. Heriberto met him. We were like, hey, client, we're doing a video. And one of our good friends, he's a photographer, and said, hey, we need a video. And he brought in, he's like, you know what? I got the perfect guy. And they came as I think it was pro bono, right, Beto?
Yeah.
Right? Pro bono. And he's like, yeah, I'll jump in. And every day it's like, okay, I saw his work. We saw his work presented, and everybody's like, whoa, who's this guy? Right? And this is a rookie at that point. I think you saw me as a rookie.
I remember it was my second year, I think, doing some videos. I don't have any equipment. I remember I just borrowed a camera from one of my friends. And the thing is, for me, I mean, right now I'm doing something about like out of my box, because I never speak in English in front of a microphone.
You're doing really good.
It's fine.
Yeah, really good.
Hablamos
But the thing
español.
is, the thing is, the opportunity I have, tengo que aprovecharla, como ahorita. Like, I'm doing things like I never do before. So, siempre he dicho que la oportunidad nunca la dejes ir, ¿verdad? Siempre aprovecha la oportunidad. And siempre alguien te está mirando.
Sí,
right?
también.
So,
Sí.
that's why I came, and I don't get any money, just show up my work.
Como dices, te voy a hablar en español, porque como dices, outside of my box o outside of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
que te pones y te dicen, vente Freddy, vamos a ir a tal parte y vamos a hacer eso. Y aunque te dé anxiety, porque como dice, a lo mejor, your English is not right, but, you're still, very good at what you do. So it's a compliment for you to be here with us, out of your comfort zone. Pero como dicen, ahí es donde crecemos.
Yeah.
Sí.
Yeah.
And for our Huerito listeners, Jordan is going to post the link on Spanish
And
classes. No, we're not going to translate. They're going to log on. They're going to log on and they're going to learn Espanol, because you really should, because ICE ain't going to get rid of all of us. So.
Sure ain't.
So then, it turned out to be a good journey after all. Then 2020 hit. COVID hit. I've always remember COVID. It was like outside sales. We have a group we were about 8 or 9 outside salespeople. And thankfully, we were already kind of ahead of the game. We already had our own Instagram page, our social media, we were already kind of, when he came in, we already had some stuff working. But 2020 hit, and as a director of marketing, we're like shutting doors. We can't visit anybody. You can't do anything. So I couldn't sleep. I was like, what are we going to do? What's next? Right? So again, he came in, we're like, well, hey, we can't get him face to face. We can't knock doors anymore. Well, then let's send him a video. And then Zoom came in, right? Zoom and the link, people need to know how to use, all that stuff. They were like, what? Zoom meetings? Who's that? So, we came apart, and then that's when, Heriberto, we started like a video for disinfecting. So that's how we actually, 2020, we started disinfecting. Brand, right?
Yeah.
We had a video. Okay.
And disinfecting was on everybody's list.
Everybody's list.
Everybody's pain point.
Yeah.
Disinfection was like, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a great move.
That was a great,
And
what do they say? Hook. Because people have had that at the top of their mind. So that's a great.
right.
Strategy.
When they say, right, there's fear. But there's also, with fear comes great rewards.
I was having a conversation with someone about fear and how it's not good to run from it. It's good to lean into it, regardless of what that is. And if you lean to it, then you kind of overcome it.
You can overcome it. Yeah. So we became the in a way. Heriberto came in and was like, Heriberto, we need a video. He's like, all right. Talking about fear, right? Nope. He suit up, get everything going. We started getting videos, shots. We got out there into jobs itself. He was suiting up and doing all that. So we created a great video. And after that, we're like, hey, Heriberto, you're not going anywhere. So the owner was like, I think we need to hire him full time.
Yeah.
And that's where everything started. And then after that, seriously, I'm very thankful for him for the brand that he has created and explore. I mean, we're known nationally now. We're a big network of restorers associations in nationwide. But knowing that our brand or our name, the company, the work that everybody does, the effort, the teamwork. I mean, we had about 150 employees, and all that being exposed and thrown it out there nationwide. Heriberto's the king.
The power in marketing, for sure. Especially, like you said, 2020, you can't go no more one-on-one. Hey, how you doing? No, everybody's encerrado. So the only way to get them is in their phone, because that's one thing that they still had. So video is what people love more than anything.
The story in itself, like the way it happened, the way you guys proved the marketing, because there's a lot of misconceptions, and I see this with a lot of business owners. They don't see the ROI up front, right? You want me to invest what and hire who and to record videos? That's so lame. It's so stupid.
Well, let me correct you there, because it is expensive. Coming from someone who first started their business a year ago, I invested a lot of money into marketing, and it's very true of who you hire. Because you could hire someone who's like, yeah, we do this, top this, and you end up paying $10,000. I'm saying because experience here, $10,000 in, no return, no return. Yeah. And because it's very important who you hire, and the person must know branding.
Yeah.
Branding. And that's why I want to throw the question back to you, Heriberto, because I think you're really good. Tú tienes el ojo. And it's just because it takes time. When people think putting a video, you don't just record, blah, blah, blah. It's like you have to think about the message behind it. What is it that you're trying to deliver? Who are you trying to speak to? Because anybody could go here, here you go, follow me, blah, blah. But if people don't see the value behind it, you're not connecting, it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So I want to go with you. Like, ¿cuándo empezaste y cómo sabías que marketing, la cámara, los videos era para ti?
¿Cómo empecé?
Mm-hmm.
Empecé en el 2011, siendo un cambio en mi vida, ¿verdad? Porque estaba un poco involucrado en otras cosas malas, y cuando vine a la iglesia miré las cámaras, no sé, hubo como algo que me enamoró de las cámaras, y empecé a aprender. Just start learning every day until now. I'm learning every day. So I started helping one of my leaders and at the church, helping on the weddings, quinceañeras, and I just doing every day videos, every day just filming, taking pictures, and I like it, And the best thing I do is to show up the best of the people, the best of the companies. That's my goal. Yeah. And also for PRC, it was a challenge because no sabía nada de restauración. Nothing, no sé qué es eso, no sabía que era moon, water damage, fire. But the thing is, sabía que podía mostrar lo mejor de la compañía, show up the best of my team, the best of the company, the work, the projects. And for now, I think I feel comfortable, doing videos, but I think it's not the best for me right now. I still keep
improving. Keep better every day.
The story that you said, how you walked into church. Y yo creo que a veces, yo me convertí cristiana hace 2 años. So church, religion was all new to me. So anytime I hear someone saying I walked into that, it's oh wow, there's really a message behind that. And
isn't it funny how that happens in this show a lot?
It's beautiful.
So right now I'm doing on the pictures and videos for PRC, and for me it's fun. People say, hey, just the camera guy, just take a picture. No, it's a job. It's something it's creativity.
Yes.
And just start learning how to present the PRC work, And now I just learning about the services every day because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to know about the more remediation, fire, water, and because I put in everything in social media, so I have to be like tengo que hacer las cosas con cuidado porque para no decir nada que cree un mal brand o una mal message para mi compañía.
And then can you guys talk about a little bit more about the services you guys offer? Because you guys do a lot.
Sometimes I think there's too many. I think that's a personal view, but no, I mean we started with the carpet cleaning, and I'll go back a little bit. We started with the carpet cleaning. We started moving into the restoration side, only water damage restoration, and then leaving the customers behind with open walls or with no floors. Then became where like, well, okay, now what, right? So then that's how we started doing repairs or the reconstruction side. And then from reconstruction side, then we were like, okay, well, what about the contents? You know, people got to move their stuff. And then now we started the contents. So it kind of slowly, it like I say, it's funny how things happen, but it almost seems like we get dragged into business. So now we even do, we started doing the mold remediation, and now we started doing the abatement, the asbestos abatement, or we started doing fire cleanups. And fire cleanups, there's so many little services in between, right? The smoke and sud cleanup, or the actual reconstruction of the whole property, or permits, and you go on. But overall, then we started doing hazmat cleanup. So now we, the owner, one of the things that the owner, we always give him a huge shout out to him. He's never stopped learning.
Pedro, is it Reyes or
Pedro Perez?
Sorry.
Perez. He's our leader in so many different ways, but he's always, okay, we got to move next. What's going to happen? What's next? And he got, the license, and he got the contractors, and he started moving where that opened up the doors to offer all the services.
Yeah.
So we literally are a one-stop shop from the beginning to end. And then that's where everything proves, right? That we can have the work to show off, and we have a Heriberto to show that everyone's doing something for every division. So again, I'll go back again to from all remediation, from water damage, from fire cleanups, from hazmat cleanups. We have septic services now, repairs, reconstruction, new counter days, flooring. I mean, you name it. Windows, board up. That's actually 2020. Board ups was a big deal with all the riots.
Right.
And we jump in again. It's more of a need.
Really?
When somebody has a need, that PRC can be there to back them up.
Yeah.
I did some we do research
Yes.
on our guests. We do some research, and we service a lot of restoration company accounts, Core Environmental Alliance. So I asked them questions, and I come to find out that the business you're in is extremely competitive. Mm-hmm. There are quite a few companies that do what you do, offer the services that you do. What makes you different?
The answer to that is always being the people. We have great employees. I bash for all of them in certain ways. I mean, as a director of marketing, it's you see everybody. You see from where the lead comes in, from talking to a prospect and getting that job or getting that contract. We're like, all right, I'm going to use you guys. But it comes down to where we have the people that can back us up. I think the answer is, there's a huge competition. The same way when I started, I mean, this is nationwide. Hurricanes, right? You got restoration. You got franchises from all over the place. Every city has almost a restoration company. And then the biggest second difference that I believe PRC has is being we offer, again, all the services is a one-stop shop. So we see the customer from the beginning, and we don't leave until it's over. And getting the satisfaction from them, that's what made us different. So it really, again, became from having the customer's need in our priority. So again, we're always our brand, make sure that everything's clean, make sure the technicians are on point, make sure that, it's a whole operation that it involves everybody's effort. So, but yeah, I mean, even at that, we're still friends with the competitor. We still see each other. We go to associations and events, and we actually made friends within own, the competition, if you want to call it like that. It's like we became friends, and I know them by name, and I know who they are. So it's being so long in the industry, you make friends.
Yeah. I could vouch on that because I've been into a couple of association networking events, and everybody's like competitors there. And I've always seen you guys. You're like, hey, meet my competitor, meet this, without them ever holding back. Like, oh, you don't meet them. Like they've always been open hands. Like if you need, you're located in Bakersfield, you're located in San Diego, go here, go here. You guys have always pointed people out, and I never heard any you guys talk bad or even talk about the competition.
I think the owner too has pointed out to us that we're our own competitors, right? We compete with our own selves, and I think that's the biggest key that we always tips.
Sure. And if that's coming from the owner, because that's a very, very, in one sentence, if I'm always bringing my best, and that goes all the way to your very last employee, where they pay attention to the detail, and no matter what department they are, they do it right. Your reputation is just going to follow you. Your branding is just going to put you out there. And then it's always going to be, because it's very easy for somebody to have a bad experience with somebody and get on there and talk some shit, and now all of a sudden they're damaging your brand, or you're damaging. But most of the time, like you said, when you're a company and you have your brand and you can go to any event and you're good, it doesn't matter. You're not afraid of competition. In fact, hey, we're all friends. There's so much business right now. Right. We'll talk about the Palisades again in a minute, where we can all be friends, but still, is everybody trying to be their best? Right. Because the ones that are, you know what I mean? I believe, like you just said, it starts from the top, and it's like every single person that works for the company has that same mindset. So there's your brand.
And you can't really even get mad at that when a competitor, even just the other day, a superintendent calls me, is like, hey, one of your competitors was in here. And I gave him 15 minutes of my time, and all he wanted to talk about was you. And I go, cool. I say, yeah. I say, so you guys didn't even talk about price or anything? And they're like, no, we just talked about you, man, and how you're trying to get them and how you're trying to put them out of business. And I go, I would never do that. I said, but I'm so happy that you guys are talking about it. No wonder my ears were ringing. If someone's going to give you 15 minutes of their time, my suggestion would be you talk about the business that you're trying to offer.
Of course.
And you don't never talk bad about people. Yeah. Everybody deserves to eat.
Exactly. And that's the same thing. There's work for everybody. I mean, seriously, it's there's so much work coming from, even in the industry of plumbing and HVAC, there's so much work that sometimes you can't even handle everything.
Yep.
Right. And then even ourselves, again, we're not perfect. We get sloppy. There's the reality of business. But then it's, how do you fix it?
Mm-hmm. The solution has to come immediately.
Solution,
or you're going to give them time to get on there. And,
correct. So we had those where we're just super busy, and we had the guys working, 10-hour, 12-hour shifts and overnights, and we still had to somehow come back as a team and be like, okay, what happened? And that'd be a third for us to be different, is that we look at those negatives, get together, turn that into positive.
Yeah, you have to. You can't be reactive. You got to continue to move forward.
Yeah. So the fires that we had, right? The Palisades, and so I don't have my notes with me, but I know it was like thousands of homes, 6,800 homes or something, and just total destruction over there. Yeah. And we actually had some of our contractor friends helping with because I guess it's going in stages there, right? Right. Because first it's desmadre, right? Then I guess the military came in to kind of make sure what was going on. And then I guess it got to the next level where now the contractors were coming in, I guess maybe busting down the pieces of stuff, right, that needed to be demoed. Take that out. I mean, are we at the stage already where like the lots are now ready to clean and the builders are ready to build?
No. I think it's going to take probably another year or two to actually be at that stage. It was I think in my personal view, I've never seen, I think Heriberto, you and I were driving to Pasadena, right? The first time?
Yeah.
So Heriberto and I were driving to Pasadena. We're like, all right, first time. This is when kind of, and I'll make it in the circle. So you got the core, and that's where everything's 100% burned. Okay, that's the core. And then you go into outer ring, and then that's maybe half burned down. And then you got the outer one, which is every smoke, everything house that is still standing, still up and flow. Nothing got burned, but it was all the smoke and soot coming in. And then you still got like the 4 ring, and the 4 ring is more of, okay, we got a little bit of smoke, a little bit of here. So when we started doing restoration, it was more outer to inward. Okay, so we started doing people were like, hey, my house smokes. It smells. And, can you come and check it out? Okay, maybe not so much. So we started doing, okay, we can do the odor removal. That's one of the services. Let's get the odor removal. Let's set up some equipment. Done. Then we start moving a little bit further. And now we got into the soot and the smoke where you can see everything. I mean, it's fire is one of the most damaging things.
Of course. Yeah.
And I can tell you that maybe I'll be very high on this number, but 99% of us were not ready to something like that. Us in general, even ourselves. I think even if I ask you all, like, do you have a plan or you have a kid in your house to prepare for a fire in your own house?
No.
We're not prepared. That's the complete honest truth. And even though we hear it, but we're not prepared. We're not. So imagine now a huge fire like that where everybody just had to run out of their house and leave everything behind. To me, it was devastating. You're talking about personal stuff, right? You got your mainly to us is
your everything, your life,
the whole life,
memories, todo.
pictures, computers. I mean, everything. Just all you had to just get that, I don't know, 30 minutes, 1 hour to just grab your stuff, pack it, and leave. Now coming back to it, it was already devastating. So going back to Heriberto, we were driving and everything looks normal. Okay, great. You're driving to Pasadena. We got out on the street and it's great. But then we start moving forward, right, towards the north where the fires were. And you start seeing like the tape for the caution tape or roadblocks, and we keep moving. And then we start seeing the Army Reserve, I think it was the one was called out. So they have blocks where they don't let people in because there was looters and there was all that trying to steal stuff.
Right.
And then we literally start seeing houses burn halfway. Or we're still standing, but like halfway. Mm-hmm. And we kept going, and then we made a turn, and everything was gone. You're sitting in a corner, and all you see is destruction, burning. Literally, all the houses burned down. To me, it was more like, wow. I think for a minute we kind of stayed quiet and we just drove, because everything was gone.
So when we went, it's funny how the way you're describing it from the outer core to the inner core, because we went in because we made a delivery to Shimmick, right, who was up in there, and you had to have your little whatever to get past the Army of Engineers. And Sam, my sales partner, she used to live there, right in Palisades, but she moved out in August, so she was already out. But she said, "Hey, can you take me to where I used to live?" And I was like, "Sure." So we drove, and what you just described, like from one block to the next, because this block para acá, there was like half structures, things were burned. But from her block, para allá, everything was gone. It was a trip, like how, like if the fire has a personality, like it knows, like, the kind of, and I'm even getting a chill now. It was weird going through there, even the weird energy that's left there. Right.
And Heriberto, I mean, you can maybe have some stories because he was on site most of the time. Again, getting the videos, getting the picture. He was helping, actually cleaning up and doing all that. So I know you might have some good stories on that one.
You should have brought us some video. Ya para otra, we got our equipment.
I think I saw videos of you, the actual fire, like when the fire was still going on.
Yeah, and that time it was hard because you can fly the drone or something to get beautiful footage, from the top.
Beautiful pictures of this madre.
Yeah, but I think this is a sad story. I went with Pedro, I think like 3 days before the fires. So it was Friday to do the inspection in one of the house. The house is near to del cerrito, así, bien cerca del cerro. So that was Friday. We take some pictures. We inspect the house. And then I think everything started from Saturday or Sunday.
It was January 5 or January 7.
It was around
It was like a Saturday or something.
So the day.
No, it was during the.
It was during the week.
It was during the week because I was on the freeway.
By Saturday.
I remember
Saturday. Oh yeah, it was
Monday.
in full blaze.
But I think on Monday I noticed everything on the part. It was already burned. So that's a story because yo quería saber como, hey, ¿qué pasaría de este señor? Like, el viernes estuvimos con él, no Monday era diferente toda la historia. Entonces, y yo como ando like recording everything with my camera, You know, la gente estaba triste, había perdido todo. Era una zona de guerra. Like, no había nada. Like, tú podías ver la Guardia Nacional, no te dejaban pasar.
War zone is exactly how I would describe it.
Yeah.
Going through there. The miraculous part is that not a lot of people. Did anybody die at the Pasadena
Yeah.
fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. Don't know the number,
there was
but
a
there
good
was.
amount.
There
There
was.
was?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought there was minimal.
No,
What about the east?
a lot of like the older people, they didn't want to leave their homes.
At least 30 people.
Yeah.
Oh, at least 30 people? Okay.
I think total altogether in LA fires was probably 30s or so. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, everybody's life is important, even one was too much, but for the level of destruction, right?
Correct.
You would think it would have been much more, but
But
gracias a Dios.
and I'll touch base on a little bit of the brand or the what sometimes social media the negative side of the social media, right? That the sharing stories of what again we were saying like how LA was not responding fast enough, or the fire department didn't do their job, or the mayor. I mean, there was so much involvement on the fires, but being on site and knowing the restoration side that we do, I can tell you that California was very well prepared. Because for that fire and that much damage in so many homes, and have, again, it's still a high number of people that died, but it could have been worse. Because I know a lot of the actual when people had to get out of their houses, it was during the night. It was right after work. I think people were getting to the house and they were like, hours they had to leave. So the evacuation plan that LA really had to do to go and call people out and get them out, I gotta say that it was right on point. It was really good.
The number again was lower than what it could have been. Like you said, it
Correct.
just could have been worse.
And the work that on a fire for firefighters to just show up first initially on a fire and just any home, and the time they normally had to take for them to put it out, it's you got 3-4 trucks, right? This was just, there's no way. It doesn't matter who would have been here, they could not stop the fire that large.
But because everything was dry, right? And then you had those winds. I don't remember. I think it was like 100 miles an hour wind or something.
Yeah, it was over 100 to
something, right?
120 miles in some
Dry,
areas.
All the perfect conditions to have this happen. And again, you don't know. When you get nature involved there with those winds, the human, you won't catch up. There's no way you're going to be able to do anything about it, except let it do what it came to do, and then, get it contained.
Here's my explanation on that one, because we barbecue, right? We put a asador, and we got carne asada, and then you got the charcoal, and you kind of be like, no prende. What do you do, right? You get a little something and you start blowing some wind on it, right? And then what do you get? Fire. Imagine that little, again, whichever
the
that it
barbecue
would be,
pit
the fireworks, or it'll be electrical, something that might happen, and then you put out that much fire, everything dry. It just within hours, seriously, it was very devastated. So yeah, it was a war zone. So we did a lot of work. We touched a lot of families, in the fact that we were helping them out. We were cleaning.
Yeah, can you get into some detail what it is that you guys did and what you're currently doing out there?
Correct. So one is we're dealing with the traffic early in the morning, but one was the permit, because we had to get permits in order for us to go into actually homes, because the National Guard just blocked everybody. You couldn't just go in there. And then we had to, again, the way that the city responded and moved themselves and having their centralized help for everybody. It was within 3 days we were already moved, and it was already getting permits. You could just walk in there, say, hey, I'm going to this address, and get in there. I'll go with the marketing. Here's the deal, right? We're like, okay, how are we going to help people? How are we going to get there? How are we going to make money? We're a business. My job is to get business to the company. So at the end, we have a great in-house, and he does all the web developing, all the graphic designing. Shout out to Cesar. And we were like, okay, how are we going to get there? Well, hey, Google, right? Online. People need to search something. How are we going to get there? So we did a campaign on it, and we started getting calls.
On Google?
On Google. We got one call, and then we got another one, and then all of a sudden we got like 10, and we got 20. All we keep hearing just the numbers, and people were just calling saying we need help. can you guys come out in my house? And then we started getting the people the house were damaged, but not burnt. Okay, so this is the outer circles. Smokes. Hey, everything smokes. And then we started getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then from that, it came where the neighbor called the neighbor, and the neighbor called the neighbor, and we were word of mouth. So then after that, Google just became, we couldn't handle Google, so we kind of shut it down. And then we came more of a, hey, go to my neighbor, go to my neighbor, go to my neighbor. And we had work seriously, we had PRC truck almost in every single house in a block or two.
Were you guys performing the abatement as well, or was it just smoke and cleanup?
So at the first stage, it's always the first outer circles is right now just more smoke and cleanup. So it's all more, but still, we have to make sure we wear safety. We got to wear PPE. We got to make sure that everybody stood up correctly. They got their, but then it was more a lot of cleaning. So now the stages that we're in is a lot more the asbestos, the hazmat materials, right? The asbestos, the anything that burnt in there, it's all now everything need to be tested first. What kind of materials in there.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know, once a home or any commercial, any structure whatsoever here in the city of Los Angeles, once there's fire damage, it turns into a Pro 5, right? What they call a Pro 5, preliminary 5. Yeah. Now that takes special permits and special, you have to abate.
Yeah,
correct. There's a lot of components, because think about everything that burned down. There's high lead, there's high asbestos, depending on the structure in itself.
Cars, battery.
One of the things, though, that I was hearing, and obviously because we were involved on the dumpster side of the service, and we still are involved, and there's a lot of procedures that we have to follow in terms of documenting the waste, where it's going, how it's being handled, how it's being disposed of, et cetera, et cetera. What I was hearing from a lot of the homeowners is that they had one of two choices. Number one, you wait for the Army Corps of Engineers to go ahead and clean up your property, or number two, you fund it yourself and then pray to God that you get your money back sometime soon or sometime in the near future. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, so any disaster that happens, just regardless of whatever state in the United States, is the government gets involved, right? So it's when I'll get the name FEMA, very well heard over the news and overall, but FEMA is comes all together, and they'll just kind of take over the whole area, right? And they'll do whatever best. So yeah. So they gave them the option where FEMA was here, they control of the area, then the customer or clients in this case, or anybody that had a house that was damaged, they had a choice. And there were so many meetings on this, regularly meetings through the city in Palisades and Pasadena. And yeah, one was insurance. So the insurance gets involved. And I'll give you another tip, right? So it's what we saw a lot, it was that people have insurance or didn't have insurance. So if you don't have insurance, then you gotta, however you're gonna pull it out of your pocket, that's on you. It is your property, it's your house. So that was one of the very first things we saw, and a lot of estimates we gave out, it was more, well, hold on, let me talk to my insurance, let me see what I'm gonna do, how am I gonna pay for this, and so that was one. It was a deal with insurance. FEMA came in, is like, yeah, we'll help you, but then we gotta get it done now. Or wait, and then you gotta pay out of pocket, you handle it, you talk to insurance, it's your property, you do whatever you need to do. So it was a tough decision for a lot of customers that we even work with. They're like, we just don't know what to do, Freddy, let's hold on. So there's a lot of wait time, they're still going on, they're still, it's and I think what's going on is that FEMA, or it's easier for them to sign up everybody and just kind of pick everything all at once, right? I think that's just my personal point of view versus, going one place and then go to the other one. So I think the encouragement was to just sign up and get it done. And I personally think that might have been the best decision for a lot of people. But then we're talking about in the Palisades, we're talking about huge properties. Pasadena, we're more like smaller properties. So that was a big difference as well. And we're still in the outers. There's still people still cleaning up. There's still got to be the process of documenting, making sure that they're in the right spot, making sure they got the right contractor, they got all the licenses, they got everything, environmental laws. I mean, you're jumping to now the circle, or the core is now a lot more of way to document and money and everything else. So But yeah, it's a huge process that maybe right now everybody kind of seems to forgot about that, right? I mean, in the terms of, when the fires hit, everything, social media, everything's all went. And then eventually pasa el tiempo and we are moving into whatever next topic is.
Yeah, well, that's society these days, right? It's and then we have all these other issues going on right now that's still affecting, what we do, because on the construction end, everything that happens. And on one take, we saw the fires, and unfortunate, but the truth is that it creates business for people on this side of the spectrum, right? Natural disasters creates business for companies such as yourselves. In turn, it creates construction jobs because you're going to have to rebuild. So,
But
the unfortunate side
fortunately
is,
or unfortunately, we are all benefiting from the situation.
well, that's the thing, right? A natural disaster.
But we are helping. We come in to serve the situation, or at least that's our mindset, not like, we're here to see
But
what we
I
can
think
get.
what Frank is trying to go into the conversation is that with the whole immigration thing, and that might even put another hold or a longer wait for those people to get their building rebuilt. Because I work in the insurance space, and the staffing as well. There's some people that do the staffing for contractors, and a lot of the staffing construction are primarily Hispanic, and there's a good portion of those people who are illegal. And now they're like, well, this is really hot, and there's been job sites that have been put on hold. Business is slowing down. People are going to work less because of fear. And now my general contractors who focus on residential, like, well, dude, I just lost that's my whole staff.
their
So
whole
like,
crews.
Yeah.
like, is this going, like, how long, because it's a little trickle effect, it's a dominoes effect. So now the poor people over there waiting for their homes to get built, it's like, oh, just one problem
Across
after
the
another
board.
problem.
But can you guys get into some of that? Has the recent deportations affected your business? What it is that you do? Have you run into any staffing issues, finding people to get out there and work?
So personally, I think we have a very good team, and it comes that a lot of us have been in the company for so long. I'm talking about years. So thankfully, we have built a very good, solid base, and that's where we're still running our show overall. But again, in cases of staffing, or in cases of people need more labor work, or just people to help them out, I have personally talked to certain friends in the industry that they are like, hey, what you guys are doing, like, we have no employees, or they're scared, they don't want to show up to work. So it is a domino effect it's creating. I think it's gonna again, there's the soft side of it, right? The kindness of like, okay, who are we really helping? There's so many things that we still need to do in the Palisades, and we haven't touched, not even, you haven't seen, honestly, it might take 1 or 2 years to even rebuild our houses.
I agree with you 100%. It's going to take a lot more time than what people are speculating. And that's just the reality. Like you said it earlier, there's so many misconceptions and so many so much misleading information on social media because people don't even know. And then you talk to people that have actually boots on the ground and are there. They know. And I've been there myself. I've had a couple of meetings. We have boxes, we have bins. We try. There's me from a trash aspect looking at it firsthand. Not one company will be able to do it all. No way.
Probably not even 10. Everybody has to pitch in. There's a lot of work to be done, and time is of the essence.
Schools, churches, these are institutes that the people need, and where do they go? I've heard, we were out there, stories of people losing everything, and not their families that live close by. Now they got to move in with a brother, with a sister. Now you got 12, 13, 14, 15 people. Us Mexicanos, 27. Because you know how we roll. Yeah. But it's just sad. And yeah, it creates work, and the recent situation that's going on right now doesn't make things easier, and it's not going to make things easier. But kudos to you guys for what you're doing, man.
No, I appreciate it. And again, the team, it's out front, we hear stories on them, and they're like, yeah, the house was so bad, or, there's just everything. And I think, honestly, the shocking is when we see, for example, families, right, that have kids or their toys or things like that, you get a little more touchy. You're like, geez, it's again, it is sad, but somebody has to do it. They always say somebody has to be involved in it, and that's the positive side of it. That's the good side of it, that we see it as, hey, we're helping. So yeah, it's, as in the business side, it's also, there's gonna be a lot of business for everybody for a little while, but right now we're struggling.
On a positive note, I know there's some parents out there that have woken up in the middle of the night and stepped on some Legos and are thanking God that those motherfuckers burned down and shit. Because you ever stepped on a Lego in the middle of the night? It hurts.
No, I don't
It
know.
hurts. That was funny, Lila, and you didn't laugh.
Yeah, it was.
So
Well-
I'm gonna work on my material. Because I just don't want to end things on a sad note. We're all sad right now. Jordan's getting tissues. Rocio's about to cry.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, like you said, on the things that we see that touch us or make us feel scared or make us feel upset, it's funny how that's marketing too, to create certain behavior in us, and on the business side, right? Like you were saying, you have to catch the moments, right, that you can use almost like for your branding, because there is a message that you want to put out there for your company. You know what I mean? How, or even like with us, that we are a small business, right? How do we, what kind of message do we give to people that saying we are just as good or sometimes even better than the big guys, right? Because of, anyway, but so that was a good tip for me.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing about marketing and social media and content, right? It gives you the ability to tell your story, whatever that story might be. You choose that story. Hopefully it's the truth. But, that's the beautiful side of this. When done right, like Rocio said, when done right, when done with passion, like the gentleman here, then you really do get to do that. And the ROI for the business owners that don't believe in marketing will be there if you do it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If your marketing created everybody into the immediate call to action, like click, 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 you have done an amazing
Phenomenal. You're
job.
helping the community. You're
Oh, yeah.
helping people. You're doing.
Yes. Well, you said something about Google. You put something on Google. You did something right, and it was so much coming in. You guys were like, okay, hold on the Google thing. Right. Because you don't want to overextend yourself and be shitty. You want to take care of what it is that you are bringing and providing it with quality.
And then, I want to touch a base too, because, we here's the top side, but I give 100% credit to all the guys in our company just doing the work, because it was long hours. It was working with your suit, PP, all suited up and cleaning up in the hot weather, and still, your mask on and coming every day to work. And I think we're working almost 7 days a week, and starting from 6 a.m. till 3 or 5 o'clock. It seriously is I give credit to all the hardworking men and women that we have in our company that they really are doing it, and that's what gives me pride.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what keeps me going in the marketing. That's what I'm here in the company, is because we built a team that we all are really attached to it.
Good.
So the brand itself is a huge name. We hear the name PRC, we're wearing it and we're like, all right, feels good.
Yeah.
We always joke around. I'm like, yeah, I've been here too many years. I'm going to tattoo PRC in my skin. I don't think it'll happen, but
Right.
but it will be to that point that we're extremely give the credit to all those.
Right. Because they are what makes people tell a friend, and then the same person to come back. So you make a good point how a good Google ad will bring will bring you a bunch of leads, bring the traffic to you. But if you don't take care of that traffic, right, then it turns into what negative reputation, or it'll turn into, like you said, you had the neighbors, you had a truck at every house. It's pretty good. It says a lot.
And the pressure. As a business, you see the pressure that, again, we see it. You do something bad, and the first thing, people are so good at talking something went wrong.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing.
Not everything that went right, but something goes wrong.
Like
That's
something
right.
goes wrong, and we're like, hey, do you remember we did all this,
Yeah,
this, and
we did.
this? But it's really, really impressive how, good marketing can get you somewhere, or even one bad marketing can get you somewhere.
Well, everyone's a critic. I will Yelp you right now. Yeah. But everyone's a critic.
Hey, at the beginning, personally, I was so scared. I'm like, oh my God, no, what can we do for you? Now it's like, okay, great, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Go. Encourage it. Because that gave us opportunity to even fight back in the aspect of us being better. And second, it'll be like, yeah, you know what? go ahead and get that done, do it, and don't, challenge us as a company that we didn't do something wrong. At the end, it wasn't they didn't want to pay. At the end, there was something else, nothing to do with the work itself. Yeah, so don't be scared. Don't be scared of those people, honestly. Don't be scared of those people that are telling you or threatening you with a Google
Because
review
some
or
people
Yelp
are
review.
just like that.
There, just do that. You go to their page and they have like every single business they went to. It's
Right,
something
there's
wrong with
something.
it. But then again, Don Heriberto is, as he said, is his job of putting it out there in line, and making sure that you're putting the right message. You're not doing anything wrong. Like it's a hard head breaking there. It breaks my head. We're always talking about like, oh, ¿qué le pongo? Oh, yes, ¿qué le pongo,
everything.
Freddy? Same.
Like right now I'm running like 3 pages, different pages, my personal PRC, another company, and it's hard, like think something or create something like a video, photo every day. Right now we are using Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. It's many things to do every day.
Yeah. Oh, and it's not like you could create one thing and just boom, put it on all channels. It's not that
You can
easy.
do
gotta
that.
go
You can do
each-
that, but every different platform is different. I think like TikTok is like more like a fun. It's not too serious. Instagram is just to show up. Facebook is more like a all people. LinkedIn is professional. So you have to
Oh yeah,
think
you have to tailor
different.
it a little bit for each audience.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
And also, I want to mention something. As a PRC company, como trabajadores, I think the best thing we see sometimes is the owner of the PRC in the jobs in the projects.
Yes.
He's helping us. If you need something, let me know. If you need water, food, he provides everything.
I love that. We need to meet him, Rocio. He sounds like a very nice owner.
Hard worker.
Yeah.
Very
So we
giving,
see our
humble, very
CEO in the field doing something.
Yeah.
That's some like inspiration for us.
Yes. Yes.
Because we see every in the company involved in these projects.
Right. And then, like you said, coming in kind. You want some water? You need me to help you? It goes a long way where people love to work there.
Leadership, right?
Oh,
You gotta have the
absolutely.
proper leadership.
Absolutely. And kindness and being humble and all that goes a long way.
And it's for me it's like inspirational because Pedro comes from the bottom,
Yes.
and you can see Pedro with the big owners of different companies, and you can see Pedro down and under the crawl space, doing some inspection or checking everything is doing well. So that's for me is inspiration because no importa dónde estás, siempre recuerdas y puedes hacer lo que hiciste desde el principio.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
ya no es de los que no se ensucian las manos. No,
Right.
no.
Right.
Él puede
Yes.
estar con su corbata y puede estar debajo de un crawl space
Sí.
helping us.
Right. Yeah.
So what's next for PRC? What's coming up? What do you guys? What does the future hold? What's on the vision? What's on the vision board? Where are you guys heading to next? Are you going to add more services?
One of our core values is innovative, right? We're being innovative. We always talk about, okay, what's next? What are we going to do next? So for the past, I would say 2 years, we have been focusing more on the, and not just focusing, but we've been dragged or been pushed to that something we're not used to. We did a lot of residential. Now we're moving a lot more commercial. So again, the business kind of drags you, right, in certain ways. And the owner, which is very involved nationwide too, we're members of different associations. We had the opportunity to travel, get to meet all the restoration companies like us, larger, bigger, and we learn from them. And we're always learning. And lately, in the past maybe year and a half, we've been pushing a lot more into the bigger projects. We travel outside of state now, or we've gone to San Francisco. One of the latest, San Francisco, we're doing a cleanup on I think it was 60-something units. There was a
More
fire.
than 65.
More than 65, right? There was a fire on the warehouse next to the big building. And this is all like high-end apartment complex. And when you get that fire coming into the next building, again, even though it wouldn't burn out, but the damage that happened from that smoke, it's crazy. So we see ourselves maybe it's working more in those larger projects, and is because we've been kind of dragged into it. We now So it takes a lot more training, a lot more, a different mentality, more learning, a lot more practice, a lot more in general. It push the company higher.
Well, like they say, you level up. So now, like you're saying, instead of one house at a time, now you're dealing with 60 units. So now you're dealing with project management, all these different, part of not just the estimating, because now you have the work, but now how do you get everything done within that budget, right? In the time frame that they want. You hire more people, which means more everything. But if you guys are ready, because that is a level up, right? To go from single homes to now 66 units. That's a big jump.
So definitely good. I would say milestone to hit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then we're always looking
that's a good
into
next step.
that future, and it keeps us very uncomfortable.
I've been hearing that a lot. In order, to find true success or to improve as a person in general, with all aspects of life, you got to be willing to put yourself in a very uncomfortable situation. You got to be willing to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're just going to stay where you're at, man. Yeah, and some people are happy to stay where they're at.
Yeah.
I do have one more.
is-
Do have one more very important question. Probably the most important question of the entire show. Does Rocio handle your insurance? And if she does not, why?
Great
That's
question.
a great question.
Bring him on. No, it's one of the things of success, and I tell this to everybody, even personally, and me and Rocio were talking about it, is we are in the business of relationships, right? So the owner, for example, in this case, we've had, and I think Rocio, he knows about it, is that we've had good relationships with partnerships now, because it has created into that when we started the company, we started with some companies, and they help you and they build you and they train you and they get you out there. The company itself, we have great relationships over the time that we have built up trust now and that we can work with. So our insurance carrier have been with us for so many years, since we were, I think it was like 800 square feet warehouse. We're now 25,000 square feet. So it's big difference, but relationships that we have made, and even me as a director of marketing, to break a relationship sometimes that strong, it takes commitment, right? It takes, for us, Rocio has been in our page for a while. She's steady helping, eventually, who knows, there might be that one faulty, the mistake, or that something they can't do for us, and maybe Rocio could, and that kind of goes a long way.
Right.
I used to think the same way. And then I came to the conclusion that relationships are important, but in business, when you're being serviced by someone, there's always, how do you keep them humble, right? Because honest and humble. Because a lot of times people get too comfortable. They're never going anywhere. They're not going to shut me out. Yeah, I am, because I'm going to keep you humble and I'm going to keep you honest. So while I agree with a lot of things that you say, it is always good to never put all your eggs in one basket. And I tell that to my
Or
clients.
to have plan B. Always have
Hey,
the
you want
plan
to shop
B.
my number? I suggest you do so.
Correct.
Go for it.
Yep.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep.
Never. So that being said,
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to get a quote.
And exactly, and it definitely hasn't hurt. I think Rocio has been also being part of it.
Well,
Just any
Rocio
other.
knows Pedro's name on a first, one-on-one basis. So, like you said, sometimes the opportunity will present itself. Oh, they can't do this for us. Pedro's first thought is going to say, oh, Rocio.
Thank you for bringing that up. I mean,
Well, I don't know if I'm on the spot or if you're in the spot, but
no.
We're all on the
That's
spot
loud
right
and
now.
frank. I think you just want to throw some
Because-
fire here, change the mood of like.
Yeah,
sadness,
because after that, we're going to
But,
talk about your safety equipment.
So going on that, and I always tell, whether you go with me or not, it doesn't change. You're not my Mr. Kirk is not my client either.
Yeah,
So
but-
let's put
but-
that-
but-
put
but send me a
I'm
quote.
gonna put that on.
But send
Well,
me a
I need-
quote.
I need information. I can't quote you without loss runs. Anyways, so I always say, like, whether you're my client or not my client, but if we build that relationship, I'm not gonna say, well, F you, you're not that. I don't see it that way. If someone ever needs help with anything, I'm never gonna say, oh, well, you're not my client, I'm not gonna help you out.
Oh, got it.
I always give free information on my social media. I have lots of people who are not my clients on social media, but it's always about being there, being available, and when the right time is, because everybody's in a different stage.
That's all I'm saying. Have a plan B.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Not because we're not using Rosillo or anybody else, we're shutting down the doors. We're actually constantly looking for new vendors, constantly looking for, again, innovative. Can that person bring us to this end? And we respect the people that have told us and say, you know what, no, they're doing really good for you. You'll actually stay with them. And because we have gone through that side of getting quotes. And I think that's valuable, Again, it's the same thing with us PRC. We've lost relationships. They don't want to use us, and we might be too expensive. We might do this. We might be what. But at the end, we're like, all right, well, we'll come back. I don't like the word uncomfortable, though.
You don't
Believe
like
it
the
or
word
not, I
uncomfortable?
don't like the word actually comfortable or uncomfortable. I don't like that. No. And I can tell you, and I'll vouch for it, and we hear that in the company when there's like, oh, people are too comfortable. People make decisions overall, regardless. We all make decisions, right? Like you said, even you're going through a phase in your family, your personal or business, but we get to stages and levels, right? We work to it. We got goals, we got visions, and like you say, I really like the word vision. But sometimes when you have your vision and you like that and you want to stay there and you don't have any more vision, either you don't want to grow, you don't want to get a different perspective of the business, or you're happy with having 5 employees and just living a life that's what you want, right? It's great. You got a good balance and you found it. And I know a lot of business owners that they're happy with 5 trucks and, they have their family and they got their kids and they travel and they're just happy and they really are like what they want. So it can come another owner larger than them. They're like, yeah, well, they're too comfortable. That's my challenge versus like, I think we all have a different stage of our lives, right? So that we all are happy with what we got. Or if you got a bigger dream, right? Then you want to be bigger and you want to fight for it, and you're not gonna give up until you get that.
No, I see your side, and it's true. Some people do reach a level of success and they prioritize their family and they become comfortable or satisfied or happy, right? Or happiness, because it's all about happiness at the end of the day. But my thing is, how did you get there? Because it's not easy to say, I'm gonna buy my first truck. I'm gonna go out here and get on a limb and put up a mortgage on my house and get a loan to start a business. That's an uncomfortable situation.
But it's also the vision, the dream behind it, right?
It's all tied in. It's all tied in.
And
It's all tied in.
And it's different stages. And then I totally agree with you right now, because I don't have any children, but I do want to have children in the future. And I am not going to firsthand ignore or not hang out with my kids because I have a podcast to do. That's definitely not on my radar, not what I'm going to do. So it's different stages of it. But it's also, you have to find the balance, obviously, and building that. But I do believe, obviously, value and family is big for me. So obviously, you're never, like anyone's never going to put their children, like, just to get likes for social media or something.
No, that's totally different. Becoming a parent changes the whole spectrum of the game.
And that's where it comes in, when you had to sacrifice, right? Where you had to sacrifice something over something, but it's something you really want, right? I've been married 18 years and going to 19, so thank you.
Congratulations.
Man. What's the secret?
What is the secret?
I mean, it's funny because that's another core value in the company. Something that I fight for a lot is respect. Business, personal, regardless where you go. I was like to Rocio, we almost have same people that we know each other and we don't even know, right? You're like, wait, you know that person? But it comes to that side of sacrificing something, right? And there goes to a point where how much can you sacrifice? Yeah. And I'm kudos to everyone that has sacrificed families. Talking about right now, right? The American dream. Our parents and before that, they sacrificed something to give us a better life, and that's kind of how we go, right? Owners sacrifice something to get a better things, or entrepreneurs, and I'm very respectful for all that people that have gave that satisfaction to themselves or that happiness. But is once you reach that level of, if you want to call it comfortable, it's because that's what you want, and that's okay.
That's
and that's really
you've
good.
arrived. There's just other people that are just have to constantly. They always have another goal. They're just have to be doing something. Not a lot of people are like that, but there are some guys that are people that are like that, and I think you might be one of them. I think I might
No,
be one
but
of
I
them.
think-
You
I think
too,
it-
you too,
No.
actually.
No, but I think it's like whatever you're doing, if that you are aligned with what you want and God, right? I think a lot of people, especially with family, they have to put some certain of level with, all right, there's alignment with the higher power, and feeling good that you're not screwing someone over or putting, taking
Right.
advantage of someone for your own benefit. So
Yeah, and that's the message that
Yeah.
I'm trying to convey. It's yeah. There's a goal. I mean, for me, there's a goal. I want a comfortable life. I want to have a family and be stable, and I see myself on a couch, enjoying these fruits, right? But in order to get there, which I'm very close, I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations. The things that I do, the finding religion and life as lately, you guys know, they haven't been extremely comfortable, but I do them. I do them because I know it leads to something good. But yeah, ultimately there's a goal. I want to be, there's happiness at the end tied in. I don't want to work for the rest of my life and be the world's best trash man. I want to have a different kind of purpose. No, but I'm so glad you gentlemen
Yes,
made it
this was
out.
fun. Thank you for coming.
And I know we revolve around the same social medias. I met you once on a hike. You were a cool dude. You offered a lot of knowledge that day. And that's what this is all about, right? Rocio's friends are our friends, and and we're here to help each other out, especially as Latinos. Especially, I think what we talked about today, we always ties back into the religion, always ties back into the hustle. It's great to sit down with a group of individuals, with two men that are leaders in their industry and believe in the same things that we do. And I just want to thank you for coming down. I appreciate the two of you, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you for taking me here in front of the microphone.
Yeah, that's right. Take you out of your
versus
comfort
behind the
zone.
scenes. Versus behind the scenes. And I'm grateful to meet Rocio, Frank, Lila, today Jordan. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to work with a big team as a PRC. Happy to meet Freddy 10 years ago.
Right.
So thank you for having us today.
Yes.
thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Triangle Hustle podcast. If you like what you heard, please give us a follow, a like, and a share with anyone who might be interested in hustling with us. Leave us a comment. Let us know what other subjects you'd like the Triangle to cover. We'll see you next time.